Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm Rob. Let's not get our hopes up.
I like how both of us feel the need to point to you when we do that, like as if people don't realize I'm the one talking. The other person is probably Rob. Plus, there's that thing beneath your face that says Rob. We're on the screen.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is. Yep. No, other direction. There it is.
Yeah, mirrored images.
Damn it. That mirror gets me every time. So we got the Bills versus Giants preview episode here. And obviously, like Rob alluded to, we're definitely not coming in with high hopes. We've got no hopes. We've got no hopes.
Just a glimmer of hopes.
That's pretty much, It's like everything has to
Sunday.
go right, and they have to make mistakes to help us, basically. That's the only way this is going to be a win, basically. That's it.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
You'd be able to, blind and deaf one might not. That's where I feel like we're at. we're like definitely in that stage at this point here. So, all right, let's break into, as we always start off with here. It's time to start off with the injury report, and this is going to take quite a while to go through, guys. Oh yes,
smoke them if you got them.
The injury report. Let's go through the long list here. Did not practice first. We'll go over those guys here. This is from today's Thursday practice report here. Daniel Jones, neck injury, did not practice. Andrew Thomas, hamstring, did not practice. John Michael Schmidt, shoulder, did not practice. Matt Pert, shoulder, did not practice. Azeez Ojulari, ankle, did not practice. Jamie Gillum, illness, did not practice. Gary Brightwell, ankle, did not practice. If you're not practicing on Thursday, guys,
you're probably not playing the game.
Probably not playing. And I'm going to say it right now. If Daniel Jones plays in this game, I'm actually going to lose some respect for people within the organization. You neck injuries, you don't mess with that. I don't care. You don't. Let them sit out. We're not going to get beat. We're not going to beat them anyway, probably. We're playing a team with a very, very good, pass rush. Sit him out. Sit him out, guys.
I mean, did they disclose his neck injury or no?
It's a neck injury. That's all we know. They haven't disclosed the actual injury. But like I said, he's had enough neck injuries in the past here where it's just like, let the guy heal up for a couple weeks. Let him come back. And, after this, we have the easier part of the schedule. So, let's see what happens,
Yeah. I mean, depending on the severity of the neck injury, like it comes out that he has a pinched nerve. You can play with a pinched nerve. It's going to suck.
Honestly, at this point, it's also partially a confidence thing for me with him. It's like, why are you going to put him in there with a decimated offensive line against a very good defense again? When you have somebody else you can throw out there as a sacrificial lamb, so to speak, for lack of a better term. Now, the only thing that'll be really bad in this scenario is if Tyrod Taylor lights it up.
That's what I'm saying. Then you create a controversy. So if he goes into the
controversy's already there. It's already there.
It's been there since last year.
There was a tweet that came out today that was my fake account that I shared with Rob even about us signing Carson Wentz because the Giants were unsure about Daniel Jones' neck injury. And I thought it was legit. And I'm telling you, I was actually kind of happy. Don't get me wrong, Carson Wentz is not a good quarterback. But no. I'd be kind of curious to see what another experienced NFL quarterback would do so we can better evaluate, is it the team or is it Daniel Jones? Because if a guy comes in like Tyrod Taylor or a guy comes in like Carson Wentz in that hypothetical fake tweet scenario and all of a sudden starts, doing 250 yards a game, a couple touchdowns a game, and the offense starts getting some shit going, then it kind of solidifies what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So
not good look.
Exactly. All right, let's get on to limited participants because that's a whole other laundry list here. Deonte Banks with the ankle injury. Saquon Barkley with his ankle injury. Cardell Flott with also an ankle injury. There's a lot of ankles here. Yeah, someone said they need to
Nobody
have some
got to.
cankles. Get some cankles and straighten those
There's
things
a
up.
cankle injury here.
Shane Lemieux with the groin. Marcus McKeithen, knee. Evan Neal, ankle. Michael McFadden, ankle. Wandale Robinson, knee/rest. So when it says /rest, I'm less worried. That means it's part of the medical plan because of his injuries coming back from. Darren Waller, groin injury. Now, it should be noted that Waller, Robinson, McFadden were all upgraded from not practicing Wednesday to being a limited participant on Thursday. So that's actually it means a good sign for them. It's more likely they're playing. I'll put it that way. Gary Brightwell was downgraded from limited to do not practice today. So that's not a very good sign at that point there. On to the Bills here. Dane Jackson has a foot injury, did not practice. Now, he's a guy who did not play very much for them until recently. He played almost every snap for the defense there. The week before in London because of injuries, and now he's also injured. The secondary is definitely not the most healthy in the world here. Obviously one of the big stars they have in their defense there is Tre'Davious White, who is like pretty much an all-pro cornerback. He's on the IR right now, so they're definitely getting thin in that secondary and in that corner position, which would make you think we're going to tell you that they should pass the ball like crazy. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. No. We're going to go over some different plan. We got a different plan here. But yeah, like I said, definitely something to keep an eye on the secondary injuries overall. Limited participant, Dalton Kincaid, the rookie tight end, concussion. Dawson Knox, wrist. Greg Rousseau, foot. Now, if you notice, it's interesting. The other two top tight ends are both on this limited. They're both going to be, they're probably going to play, but they're not going to be full strength. Balin Spector was also listed on theirs as a full participant because he has a hamstring issue and was limited prior, but he's now good to go. Dion Dawkins also did not practice due to what they said is personal reasons. So that could be a whole bunch of things. That could be he had to go something for the day. That can mean he's going through something, in general in life. So I won't go too much into that one there. He's one of their offensive tackles though. So again, if you can get anybody you can get out in the game, that's going to help us. I'll put it that way. So you have some personal issues, by all means, Dion, take care of them. Take care of them. But he is a guy who literally is in 98% of the snaps. So yeah. All right. Let's go into the actual game itself here. So enough injury talk there. I'm getting injured just talking about these injuries. Let's get on to let's get on to when we're on offense. Righty. So here's one of the big issues I think the Giants have kind of faced all year long. I mean, there's a laundry list of issues, let's be honest here. But this is one of the things that I've noticed that I don't think it's talked about enough, especially in the San Francisco game. It's our third down percentage. We've been horrendous pretty much all year long on third down. And the Bills are a great defense, but they're only average on third downs. What I mean by that is opponents are actually converting 38.6% of third downs, which is 13th best in the league. So there's some gaps in this defense overall. And that's what I want to kind of go over with you guys is that gap, because the big gap there, and I also think it's a correlation between that and why people are converting third downs in them, is the fact that if you look at what's going on with these guys overall, people are passing on like crazy. And a lot of times, obviously, it's because they're down, trying to keep Joneses, so to speak, here, because the Bills do score a lot of points. They have a very, very good offense. That's a mistake, guys. So if you look at their defense overall, the Bills sack the quarterback on average 12.5% of pass attempts in the year, and they intercept 5.4% of passes. Both of those are the best in the league. Now, what do the Giants have trouble right now with? Protecting the quarterback. Yeah, protecting the quarterback. So why would we start throwing the ball left and right against a team that sacks quarterbacks at a higher rate than any other team in the league right now? That's a mistake. Now, the Bills are giving up 5.8 yards per carry as a defense, which is 31st in the league. They're allowing 134 rushing yards per game, which is 25th. Opponents, though, are only rushing 23 times per game, which is 7th lowest in the league. So what we're saying here is run, run, run,
Run like hell.
and run. You know, I'm kind of not happy to see Brightwell being on the injury list because he's one of the guys that, you know, not a very big guy, but he plays like a bigger running back. You know, he's that north-south runner just going to bum rush into you at that point and, you know, do some damage to the defense long term there in the game. But to me, we got to get a running game going, guys. Gotta.
And it's been hard for him without Barkley. I mean, Bretta had 1 week where he was our top receiver and just behind Daniel Jones and rushing. Like that was probably the best outing of our run game.
See, to me, though, I think the quarterback's got to be a part of that running game. And
100%.
for whatever reason, they're not doing that as often as I like to see. And I know probably part of it is because of the fact that, you know, there's just so many hits he's already taken with the sacks. They don't want to put him in more hits in running situations here. But that's what made this offense better last year was running the quarterback, keeping the defense on their heels, making them respect the fact that if you go back in coverage and you create a gap in the field, he's going to take it and get 10, 15 yards in a run. There's not that respect there right now. So we got to gain that respect back. And if Jones is out, Tyrod Taylor has the same capabilities to do that, guys. The same capabilities.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't lead with his head and get concussed.
Yeah, as long as he holds onto the ball too, because he did have a fumble in his little bit of time he had against I think it was the Bears last year, if I remember right. But he's a guy with a lot of experience and a guy that has played for this league for many, many years and has been a starter, ironically enough, with the Bills. So, you know, a guy that I have no problem putting out there if that's what we're doing. It's funny because I hear a lot of guys complaining online already going, oh, we're not going to have Daniel Jones this week. But then Sunday, that's the same guy bashing Daniel Jones and how he plays. I'm actually looking forward to seeing what a different quarterback does in this offense. I really am. Because I think it's going to be an interesting way of assessing where Daniel Jones is actually at and how much of the problem is Daniel Jones and how much of the problem is the Giants.
Yeah. But then, you know, if Taylor gets sacked 8 times in his game.
Oh, he will. He will.
Yeah, and you can turn around and look at the slide and be like,
turn around.
Well, that's what, you know, Evan Neal's been doing, trying to block.
Evan Neal's like an usher. Like, where's your ticket? Oh, here you go. You go right there. The quarterback's over here. You'll go right for him. He's gonna make a great guard one day, though. But yeah, it's like I said. I think we need to figure out, you know, how much of this is Jones and how much of this is the offense. And I think it's a great way of finding that out. And I think we're going against, you know, obviously, again, one of the best defenses in the league right now. And when you do that, when you're missing multiple starters on your offense, you know, on your offensive line, I should say even specifically, it's a true test to where you're at that point there. And I think seeing Tyrod Taylor instead of Daniel Jones is going to give us a pretty good idea of how much of the problems are Daniel Jones. I really do. So now let's go over some of the guys they have on defense here because that's also part of the equation. They got some stars on defense, guys. They got some studs. They got some people that are household names by all counts here. The big one they will not have is Matt Milano. He's been put on the IR after the injury he suffered there in London. Last I heard, he's still there having tea and crumpets in a hospital. But he's going to be out. Linebacker Terrell Bernard, though, will still be there, who's actually it's actually the leading tackler on the Bills there. He is. So 45 tackles in 5 games. And, you know, a guy that's still all over the place at that point there. As I'm getting text, by the way, from Harry the Greek, who's also in the chats here. He's texting and in the chat here. We see you, Harry. We acknowledge you.
What's up, Harry?
Ed Oliver. Geez, I'm reading things wrong. Ed Oliver, 24 tackles so far in the league in the year here, 4 sacks. He's been very good. That guy has been good for a couple years now. But listen, anytime you're leading the team in sacks from the tackle position, you're doing something right. You're doing something right. You know,
Well,
he's
this
there.
team's been doing something right for a few years now. So
Yeah. Now, I should say leading the sack. He does have one guy on the team ahead of him on sacks, and that's Leonard Floyd. 5.5 sacks in the season. AJ Espinosa and Gregory Rousseau also each have 3. Von Miller, we got to talk about him as well. Von Miller, the return of the Miller. He's playing more like Miller Lite right now. That we only played 20 snaps against the Jaguars there in London last week, which was his first action all year long. So we don't know how much Von Miller we're going to see yet. We also don't know what kind of Von Miller we're going to see yet, because again, he's coming off a major injury. Is he going to be the old Von Miller? Will it take him a couple of games to get back to that kind of level, which is probably the more likely scenario?
I was about to say, it's probably. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to come out and be a Super Bowl MVP.
No. But in all fairness, at this point, I mean, I know any
We might
Bills
make him
fans,
look like it.
any Bills fans that watch us might not want to hear it, but he's also many years away from being a Super Bowl MVP. The guy's 34 years old now. You know, I mean, you do see guys in their mid-30s still playing at a high level at that position, but you also see a lot of them dropping off. And when you're coming off a major injury, guess what, guys?
It could go either way.
Yeah, that's when that happens. Because keep in mind, this was Thanksgiving of last year that he had an ACL tear. You know, Giant fans, we know ACL tears all too well. That first year you come back,
Giants.
yeah, that first year you come back, you're not usually your full self yet. So,
especially at his age.
give it a little time. Listen, I'll knock it. I'm older than him, so I can do it. It's okay. You are too, but I mean, let's be honest.
So
34.
There's a difference between a 34-year-old that's a 300 pounds coming back from an ACL injury compared to someone like Wandell, who is almost half his size and half his age.
Yeah, it's just like I said, I don't think it's going to be pretty for him. I really don't. You know, but like I said, I think he'll come back. He'll be a better player than the average player in the NFL still. And next year we'll see if he returns to his Pro Bowl kind of, you know, team there, that Pro Bowl kind of caliber player there. We already talked about Tre'Davious White is also on an IR, so he's not going to be there. So that's where they are missing one of their studs there, along with Matt Milano. So 2 studs they're missing here. Micah Hyde is also obviously going to be playing here. You know, Pro Bowl caliber safety there, 23 tackles on the year, 2 interceptions. So they definitely got some people we got to watch out for on that defensive side of the ball. But you notice what we're talking about a lot of: pass rush, tackles, interceptions. This is a team, I'm telling you right now, guys, run the freaking ball on them. Control the clock. Keep Josh Allen off the field and just run the goddamn ball. That's how you have a chance of beating them.
As long as you get first downs.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's going to be said about anybody. If you're not getting first downs, you're not going to beat anybody, obviously. Can't get to the end zone that way.
Nope.
Unless you're doing, 80-yard runs, which if that's the Giants' game plan and it works, I'm all for it. All right, let's get into some of the comments here before we start talking about a little defense. John starts us off with, where my bitch is at? Oh, wow.
Right here.
And he says, she's hot. I'm not sure who she is. I'm thinking John's watching us while also watching some online pornography, perhaps. John says, nice shirt, Drew. I'm here too, Drew. I'm wearing a Tiger Woods shirt that says sinking putts, nailing sluts, LOL. Deb says, will they bring DeVito up as a backup if Jones is out and Taylor plays? I don't see how they can't do that. You got to have a backup quarterback, especially the way Tyrod Taylor has played throughout his years. He's injury prone at times. Remember the Bears game we talked about a minute ago?
Barkley lined up for us taking the snaps.
Yeah, in that game, because Tyrod Taylor got hurt right after Daniel Jones got hurt. So
3 plays. Yeah, 3 plays after.
John says, I'm thinking it's all turf related. You already get another comment I saw a minute ago that tells me probably not. But John says, DeVito is too short to be our QB. Come on, Deb. Danny DeVito is not too short to be a quarterback. He's fine. You imagine Danny DeVito in his prime, though, like being a quarterback. He's like running behind the line. No one even sees him. He just pops out of nowhere and runs the ball for a touchdown.
Dressed up like the Penguin.
Deb says, so who would play if Taylor gets hurt, John? Ooh, she's calling you out. John says probably Tommy DeVito. I like how he's like signifying what DeVito he's talking about. Deball says if injuries are turf related, are the Jets having as many injuries? And that's the point I think has been an issue for quite a while. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of these injuries we have are possibly turf related. I mean, you play on turf, you could have turf injuries. That's life. But part of it to me is the fact that the Giants just go after injury-prone players. We've talked about this quite often in the show. You know, there was another show
where did Bryce Hall tear his ACL? Was that
MetLife? Who? Sorry,
where did Bryce Hall tear his ACL? Was it MetLife? Was it a home game?
I'd have to look it up, but that was also last year.
Yeah.
So that's with the old turf. We know the old turf was bad. I can look it up. Versus the Broncos. So Jets Broncos 2022. It was at the Broncos. So it was at Denver. And I don't know if Denver has a grass stadium or not. Anyway.
Yeah.
But again, we go after injury prone. Like I was on another show talking about the Giants and people were complaining nonstop about Azeez Ojulari getting injured all the time. Well, if you remember, he dropped because of the fact that there was concerns on his medical. You know, we get a guy like that in the second round. Great player when he's healthy, not healthy very much.
When he's playing.
Yeah. You know, we got a guy like, Sterling Shepard, who, listen, we all love Sterling Shepard, but every single year injured, and we keep on re-signing him. You know, we get a guy like Darren Waller, who, jury's still out. We'll see what happens with him as far as whether that trade works out for us or not, because so far, not so good. But a lot of the offensive
season and training camp, because he was a unicorn.
Yeah, but you know what? The offense has been so bad. I don't want to put it all on him necessarily yet, because he needs a good functioning offense to work. That's the thing. A quarterback functions the offense. You can say it on him because he has the ball every single time.
Yeah.
But if he's having trouble getting the ball as a receiver, that's where you can go.
It's kind of hard to catch balls when it's not getting thrown.
Exactly. But he's also had some misses and stuff like that too. But anyway, the point I'm getting at is we traded for him. And what injury concerns does he have? A ton of them. He's had, hamstring issues the last couple of years, kept him out of games, made him not be with a player he was prior to that there. The Giants just love a guy who's got injuries. It just is what it is. And that's part of why we're having these issues. John says, maybe LOL. I don't know. I think so. Harry says, did someone say Bears? He gets all excited. Greetings from Keeneland Horse Track in Lexington, Kentucky. Is that where they do the running of the roses there, the Kentucky Derby? I don't even know. I'm not really a horse person. Harry says, acknowledge the Greek.
What's up, Greek?
Listen, give him any word, and he will tell you its roots in Greek.
Ooh.
Let's see here. John says, even a 50% Miller will run through our O-line. Listen, he's not wrong on that one. A 50%, version of, Von Miller, an all-pro, kind of player in the past. Yeah, that's our line's going to have trouble with it potentially. John says the she, which is when he said she's hot, he's answered who that she is. The she from before was the ambulance driver in the video thing you showed. So just to be clear,
the cartoon,
the cartoon, yes, the cartoon is what got him going. Dakota says, you guys suck. So do the Giants. Aww. JK, I love you guys.
Yay.
Now, I can't put the next one because he says F the Giants on there. I'm not going to put that one up. He says, what's going on with this mustache? Where's the top hat? Listen, the top hat could be anywhere.
It just also doesn't go with the headset.
He says, Roberto always has the cool mustache, twisty. And then he says, untrue. Dakota, what is untrue?
Lies.
What is untrue? John says, hey, Harry, send us some Kentucky bourbon. Ooh, bourbon sounds good right about now.
Good old Buffalo Trace. Good old disco
while we
bourbon.
play the Buffalo Bills. I see what you did there. I see what you did. All right.
It's also my favorite bourbon because it's a medicinal bourbon.
Mine is it's basically anything that's got a good flavor to it. There's a pecan whiskey I like a lot, actually. It's got a nice little
Ooh.
pecan taste to it. Yeah.
But
It
did you
actually
know
does.
Buffalo Trace
Yes.
was legit a medicinal bourbon during
Yeah.
Prohibition?
So is Coca-Cola.
Well, that was used for different reasons, and it wasn't a whiskey.
Well, you can mix whiskey with it.
You can't. Don't ruin a good whiskey with Coca-Cola.
Dakota says, making my way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and I'm homebound. Do. I think Dakota is trying to make us do some singing here. That's a chick song, Dakota. I don't know that one. I know the song he's referring to. Who did that
Michelle
one?
Branch?
I don't know. I gotta look it up now.
I think it's Michelle Branch. For white chicks.
It was
And I
Vanessa
miss you.
Carlton, 1,000 Miles. That's what it was. Yeah.
I was just thinking of Terry. Is it Terry Bradshaw and White Chicks?
Oh my God. I haven't seen that movie in many, many years now. John says it's all medicinal bourbon, LOL. Damn straight it is. For the sanity. All right. Speaking of needing sanity, let's go to the defense.
Talking about that D.
All about the D. So on the defense, listen, the defense has not been the problem as much as the offense has, and I think that's pretty safe to say. Okay, me wrong. The defense is
only
not
touchdown
off the hook.
last week.
Yeah. The defense is not off the hook by any means. Like, they've definitely had tackling issues, they've had coverage issues, they've had angle issues, but a whole lot better than the offense has been. So the focus on this, though, has to be about stopping the pass, because they pass on 58% of their offensive possessions there. So their rushing game is average at best. It's 4.4 yards a carry, which is 15th, while their passing yards per game is 274, which is 4th best in the league. So on offense, it's run, run, run. On defense, it's stop the pass, stop the pass, stop the pass. Very simple.
Let your big sign, let Ojolari take care of the line.
Ojolari. If you've seen it playing.
Not Ojolari, I apologize. Okay. Wrong-o.
Yeah, well. So Josh Allen, obviously everybody knows that name. It's a household name in the NFL. Absolute beast. Got a 73.1 completion percentage, which is best in the entire NFL. 281.4 yards per game, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in the season, sacked 9 times. Now, with him, though, you also get the rush option. But he's only rushed the ball 20 times this year, but he's done it for 120 yards. So you got to respect it because it's there. What's interesting, though, is in that time frame, you're talking 20 rushes now, 3 touchdowns, and he also has 2 fumbles in the season. So, guys, when you hit him, helmet on ball, go for it, go to rip the ball out, because
he does a lot of those rushes came off of red zone, within 5 yards.
Yeah, but this tells you that when we get down to a close to the goal line kind of situation there, watch out for Josh Allen, because
he doesn't see someone open, he goes for it.
Yeah, he's gonna, or even a designed run. I've seen that with them as well. But that's pretty much the only run you really got to be too concerned with. James Cook is their lead running back. Now, on the season, his numbers don't look that bad. 61 rushes, 292 yards, and 1 touchdown. So you figure, again, we're 5 games in. So you figure, 292 yards at that point there. He's going to average at that point about 1,000, 1,100 yards in the season at that point. Not a bad year for a team that doesn't run very much, for a guy who hasn't hit 1,000 yards really ever in his career. But he's also pretty young. Remember, this is the younger brother of Dalvin Cook. He had 2 big games, really, guys. 98 yards against the DC Commanders, 123 yards against the Las Vegas Raiders. Do the math in that. 71 yards combined the other 3 games. That's not good. That is not good.
He was not there at all in London. Well, he was there. He just wasn't.
He was negative yards in London.
Yeah.
He pulled the Josh Jacobs.
Mm.
So now those 3 games that I mentioned, he's got 71 total yards in. 2 of those were the ones they lost. Keep in mind the 3 and 2. So when he rushes big, they win. When he rushes not big, they lose. So it's an interesting thing to look at. As much as I'm saying stop the pass, stop the pass, stop the pass, it's also got to keep an eye on Cook there, because if he starts going crazy and going off on you, you're gonna have to kind of adjust that defense a little bit to kind of respect him a little bit more and see if he can do that. Because if he's gonna play like crap anyway, then why are you gonna focus on him? Focus where the damage is done, which is on the passing offense. Like I said, keep an eye on him, because if he goes off, they tend to win. Now, as far as stopping that passing offense, they got 2 big weapons, really. Stephon Diggs, 39 catches, 520 yards, guys, in 5 games and 5 touchdowns. So this guy's on pace now for like 1,800 yards season. That's pretty damn impressive. For a guy that, let's be very honest, you don't hear about him as often talked about, one of the best wide receivers in the game. You know, you hear about guys, you hear about, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown. Stephon Diggs has kind of been brought out of that conversation for whatever reason. And obviously with numbers like that, he should be there, point blank. Is he a headache? Yes. Is he a diva? Yes. That's what wide receivers are.
I was about to say most of them are.
Our ones typically are. Now, with him, Gabe Davis has also had a pretty good start to the year. 26 catches, 320 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, but how many did he have against London? Wasn't it over 100 yards against London?
Yes.
Because there was talks, I think it was 117, because there was talks about going into London, like, is he the Gabe Davis that will get you yards? Like, is he the Gabe Davis that pass? Like, can he be that strong number 2? And then he showed up in London and played well.
Showed up.
They lost.
Yeah, no, he showed up pretty big time here. So I can get you the actual game logs here. I got that coming up here. So he had 100 yards in London. Now he also had 92 yards though against the Raiders. He had 61 yards against the Dolphins. So he's only had 2 games that he's been at about 30, 35 yards. The rest of the other 3, he's had pretty decent games. So, but the big thing to take note on is Josh Allen's got 1,407 passing yards on this season. Those 2 together combined for 840 of those yards, guys. So that means the rest of the team has 567 yards in 5 games. So what does that tell you? That tells you if you can stop those 2, then you're going to change that entire offense. Now, don't get me wrong. Every single goddamn team comes into Buffalo and says, we have to stop Stephon Diggs. I'm not suggesting this is some rocket science, brilliant idea that no one's ever thought of. But what I'm saying is if you're able to focus on those 2, I think you can make things happen. So if you can go ahead and give them some help, maybe pop a safety over along with Stephon Diggs, get a good coverage on Davis there, whether it be Deontay Banks or whoever. We'll have to see how that goes, depending on injuries, or Hawkins. But if you can get those 2 knocked out where they're kind of lesser of effect on the game, you're changing completely how things go. Changing absolutely completely how things go. Because, listen, stop the pass against a team that passes almost 60% of the time, you're going to have a good shot of having a good game defensively.
Yeah. I mean, they also have to – he hasn't had a good year. I just went blanking his name, the tight end over in Buffalo.
Oh, you mean Dawson?
Yeah, Dawson. He hasn't had a good year so far, but we also struggle against tight ends, so I wouldn't be –
Well, the big thing with him, too, though, is he's got the injury. And we're going to have to see how that is overall. Again, he's got the concussion he's coming back from. We don't know if he's going to be cleared or not to play yet. He did, suffer that in the Jaguar game in London. So
actually, I take that back because he's probably not going to play because no player so far that was in concussion protocol came back the following week. And I think the NFL is making a statement about that after what happened with Tua.
Yeah. No, so that's what I'm saying. I don't think we're necessarily going to see him. Now, I'm sorry. Wrong player. Dalton Kincaid had the concussion. I'm sorry. I'm messing up there. Dawson Knox had the wrist injury. There's so many injured tight ends on the Bills. Again, I'm confused here. But on the season, Dawson Knox has 11 catches for 75 yards, and that's it. He has not been used very much. So I get it that the Giants do not have a good history against tight ends in general, but I'm not worried about the guy who's got 75 yards. I'm not. I'm worried about the guy who's got 500 yards.
No, I get you.
I'll take my chances with the guy who's got 75, because in the end, Dawson Knox is a good player. Dawson Knox is not the guy who's going to take over a game.
No, I'm not saying he's going to. I'm just saying that's something to watch out for.
Yeah. Now, the one who we're saying with a concussion, that's Dalton Kincaid, the rookie. Now, he did get that in Jacksonville, so I don't think we're going to see him personally in this unless he, by some miracle, passes a concussion test there and all that. I mean, he is practicing with the team, so that's a good sign for him overall, but he's got 118 yards on the season there. So the two of them are kind of been split in time there. But I'm not too much of a really a passing offense going through the tight ends anymore. Like I said, they're focusing on those two, and that's who we got to stop. And like I said, we got to put a lot of attention on those guys specifically, because if you can stop that with those two, and James Cooks has a bad day, this offense is not at all what it usually is. It's not a scary offense when you go beyond those guys. It's very few people that you really need to stop. They're focused on. We already looked
at Josh Allen's stats, and he's leaning on these guys.
Lean on me.
Yeah,
you're not strong.
That's what.
And I'll be your friend.
Might be saying. That's what Knox saying to Diggs and Davis.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing with Josh Allen too is when you get him in a position where he's uncomfortable, he's much more likely to throw interceptions then, as every quarterback is, but he's interception prone to begin with. So, like I said, it all plays into playing, the right way against against these players here. So, if you look at his interceptions in the league here in the season, he's got 5. Like I said, he's got 4 in the 2 losses. So that's So we go talk about 8 touchdowns, 1 interception in the 3 wins. 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions in the 2 losses.
Yeah.
Make him uncomfortable. Take away the weapons he wants to use. All of a sudden, you make him human again. He's not untouchable. He's not this guy that can just throw the ball wherever to whoever like that. He has his guys he likes. Take them out of the game.
Yeah. I agree with that.
All right. Let's get into our final thoughts here in the game. Final thoughts here. We're going to get our asses handed to us.
Guys, get your preparation H and get your diapers ready.
Ready. It's going to be bad, guys. We're talking about how to ways to do this. Don't get me wrong. There's a blueprint to success against the Bills. We don't have the people to do it. We don't.
No.
Not with
we
the
might
way
be
this
able to,
especially is.
We should be able to slow them down, but our offense, I don't know if they can play against that defense. Well, they can.
Yeah,
I just don't know how well.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's gonna be an interesting game, I think, overall for the Bills, because I think their fans will enjoy it, as the fans of the Seahawks and the Dolphins and Cowboys and 49ers and all enjoy their game against us. I do think it's going to be interesting from our perspective, though, because again, if Daniel Jones doesn't play, we get to see another quarterback in this offense, and it gives us a better idea of how much the blame is Daniel Jones and how much the blame is the offense as a whole. Keys to victory here. First off, win the turnover battle. We talked about Josh Allen, his proneness to interceptions, especially in losses. Listen, if they give us the ball and we don't give it back, that goes a way of helping. I mean, we talked about the Dolphins game. The Dolphins game, for much of the game, was much closer than it appeared at the base in the final score. And a lot of that was because of the fact that we were +3 in the turnovers. +3 in the turnovers helps a lot. A lot.
Big time. Especially at pick 6.
Yeah. Second thing, don't play stupid. What I mean by that is don't make mental mistakes. don't have interceptions, don't miss your blocks, don't play stupid angles. Simple fundamentals here.
Yeah,
Go
just
ahead
bring
and
it back
play
to
the
the
game
basics.
the right way. Yeah.
Yeah, when you tackle, wrap. Yeah.
Yes.
Go ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go ninja, wrap.
I made another funny.
Ah.
Splinter was the best in that thing. Third key. Run.
Run like hell.
That's for us on offense, guys. Run.
Yeah.
Control the clock. Go after their weaknesses.
Just like Pink Floyd said, run like hell.
You know, part of it is too, as well, is that, like, let's say hypothetically we're down in the fourth quarter and we want to make it go for it, which, yeah, let's be honest, it's a good possible scenario here. If your guys if we've been running down these guys' throats all game long, now all of a sudden you got everybody's a little weaker on defense at that point. That's when you can start throwing the ball.
Yeah,
so,
get everyone gassed out, tired out.
Yeah, you're wearing out these guys, these defensive linemen, and you're helping the offensive line by doing that. Let's be honest, this offensive line is going to need all the help.
Yes.
All the help. Then we also have force the Bills to throw outside of Diggs and Davis. We talked about that just a moment ago there. That's the key. Get them uncomfortable in their offense. Don't let them do what they want to do. Because when you let a team like them that has a very good offense do what they want to do, bad things will happen for the opposing team. It will not be pretty.
No.
Last one. Sentimental. Win for the Gipper. I mean, for Dable, for Shane, for Hodgins, I guess for Bobby Johnson too. All of the guys who, are ex-Bills. I wouldn't say necessarily a revenge game as much as that. I know it's the typical phrase thrown around. It's very amicable the way they left the Bills. The Bills speak very highly of them still, and I think this is something that would mean a lot to them. Kind of like last year when we beat the Ravens, that meant a lot to Wink Martindale, and I'm sure he still thinks of that game with very fond memories. I don't want this to be, as much as we're expecting to get beat, I don't want this to be a game that's just an absolute embarrassment for Dable and Shane. Because listen, we may not be in the best of terms with them right now because we're all a little pissed off on what's going on with this team. But don't forget, guys, this is the duo that got a crappy franchise. Let's be honest, we've been a crappy franchise for a while now. Into the playoffs when we haven't seen the playoffs in a decade, basically.
And they won a playoff game.
Exactly. We won a playoff game on top of that. So, I want good things for them. I want success. And I think this game would mean so much to them if they won. It really would. So beyond hoping for us, hoping for the Giants, I'm also hoping for those two as well, because they do deserve it, especially all the BS they've been putting up from us the last couple of weeks. We're pissed off.
It's New York media. Can't help it.
Oh, yeah. New York.
New York.
It's up to you. As we play the only team that actually plays New York this week.
Yeah.
The Buffalo Bills love to say that. We're the only New York team there is. We're not talking about New York State when people call New York teams. Talk about New York City. No one cares about the rest of New York. They don't. That's why they call places that are right in the border upstate New York. Anything not New York City is upstate New York.
Is Albany considered upstate New York?
Well, Albany is, but Albany is actually at least halfway up the state. But I'm talking like you talk to somebody like Binghamton, for example. I'll use that as an example because I've seen people from Binghamton say they're from upstate New York. It's right on the goddamn border. They're going to walk to Pennsylvania from there.
Yeah.
Like, you're not upstate. You're on the border. You're as south as it gets. But because they're not in New York, they call it upstate. It's really weird. All right. Anyway, let's see. John's giving his analysis here. He's saying 38-10 unless Tyrod lights it up. Yeah, I'm going to say that it's going to be, I'm going to say 30-14.
Yeah, I was going to go right around that because of what, average 28 points a game.
Yeah, I'm getting less and less optimistic as we're hearing more and more on these injuries. I was hoping, even with our last recording we did there Tuesday night, I was hoping we'd have some of these guys coming back, but it seems like, I wonder if it's also planned that way. Like, okay, this is going to be a bad game. Just keep everybody out one more week. Let's get to the easy part of the schedule and then get everything going. Because, guys, we talk about it as if people are talking about first round, pick. Oh, we're going to get the first overall pick and stuff like that. Guys, we're not getting the first overall pick.
Look at the Panthers.
After this, we have the Commanders, the Jets, the Raiders, and we face the Cowboys. So it's, we'll see what happens with them being all banged up now like they weren't against us last time. We have the Commanders again, the Patriots, the Packers, the Saints. It's a lot
of winnable
games coming up, guys. I will even say, even at 1-5, we could easily go on a tear and somehow still sneak into the playoffs. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible at all.
Yeah, we go 1-5 after 6 weeks, and then you go another after week 12, and we wind up being 6-6.
It's very possible.
There's a possibility.
Johnson's problem is playoffs were last year. Now we're Waterboy movie. We suck again. Yeah, listen, it's also a lot of injuries. We get passionate, but we get pissed off about it and everything as well. But I feel like game days when we have that happen, I feel like afterwards we can kind of calm down and go, okay, we got to look at this. Saquon's out. Thomas is out. All these guys are out, and Deb says, and I want to win Powerball. Listen, it's possible. Let's say, okay, we'll go through it real quick since everybody's acting like we're crazy in the chat here. So we lose the Bills. We're 1-5. Okay. Beat the Commanders, 2-5. Beat the Jets, 3-5. Beat the Raiders, 4-5. Lose to the Cowboys, 4-6. Beat the Commanders, 5-6. Beat the Patriots, 6-6.
And the Patriots are not the Patriots team of the past 2 decades. They've been god awful. They got blown out the past 2 weeks.
I'm just saying that's 6-6 right there. You have toss-up games basically. We got the Saints and we got the Packers after that. So let's say hypothetically we beat the Packers and the Saints. Now we're at 8-6. Now we have the Eagles. We lose to them 8-7. Rams. Let's say we pull out a win there. We're 9-7. Eagles again. We lose to them. We're back to 9-8, guys. Again, same exact record as last year.
Yeah.
Well, minus a tie. We didn't get the tie this year.
Hopefully.
So I'm just saying, guys, the season's not over.
Tie the Bills.
Yeah. The season's not over. We're gonna lose this week, no matter what Rob says about tying. And our season begins really next week. When we start getting these easier opponents that we should be able to beat at that point there. And we just need the guys coming back. We need the guys coming back healthy. We need Saquon back. We need, we need Andrew Thomas back. We need these players back for the offense to get at least something going. Because part of the issues on defense, I'm calling it right now, is the fact that these guys are on the field nonstop. The time possession is killing them. We have to help them out. We have to get some offense going. So hopefully we get those guys coming back. We get some things going. And even if we're not 9-8, we're still going to be, let's say, hypothetically, let's say 6-11 or something like that. We're not going to go, 2-15, guys. It's not going to be that kind of season.
No,
it's going to get better hit to this stretch coming up. We're literally facing, look who we played right now so far. You got the Cowboys, who minus that spanking they took, against the 49ers here. We're considered one of the best teams in the NFL. We beat the Cardinals. We lost to the Niners, is possibly the best team in the NFL right now. We lost to the Seahawks, who is probably going to be a playoff team this year. We lose to the Dolphins, who was the best offense in the league, will probably be a playoff team. We're going to lose to the Bills, who are one of the best teams in the NFL right now as well, and be a playoff team as well. We're not losing to crap, guys. We're not.
No, if we're sitting there losing to the Patriots, then we could talk about a 2-15 season, but we're not.
Yeah, it's embarrassing because we're getting our butts handed to us here, guys, and I get it. It really is. I get it. But we're losing to good teams that we wish were closer. But we're losing to good teams when we have all our offensive line or star running back out.
Yeah. Hey, at least we hung in with the Niners better than the Cowboys did.
Yeah. Listen, we hung in with them. We hung in with the Dolphins to a certain degree. I know the score doesn't show it at that point there, but first half, at the end of the first quarter, we're only down 17-10. Wasn't it the second half we got our butts handed to us? So, like I said, guys, give it another week. We're going to get our butts handed to us. After that, we're going to find out what real team we have as guys hopefully start getting healthier and start coming back to play. And there's some optimism there, which is going to be weird to sound because I'll be even probably optimistic in the post games. Like, okay, now the shit stretch is done. Let's get to real games. So, all right, guys. Well, we will see you again, as we mentioned there during that post game there. So keep in mind, we are a Sunday night football game this week again. Primetime game. We know Daniel Jones loves those. So we'll be on late Sunday as soon as the game is over. So as soon as that's over, head on over to us here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. Rob, favorite my LinkedIn profile. We'll have to still try to figure out what's going on with Twitter since it's not letting us stream to there for some reason anymore. But we will at least put the link on there. So again, guys, we are also on pretty much every audio podcast platform known to man. We have a nice little fun little graphic here now to show you exactly the list here. So yeah, we are pretty much everywhere that you want to be there. And now we got a thing blocking it. Oh, I didn't think about that when I made the graphic. So Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Alexa, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Pocket Cast, Deezer, Listen Notes, Player FM, Overcast, Castro, Podbox. Oh no, sorry, Castbox, Podfriend. Oh god, there's so many of these things. We're even missing one here because of the link. Good Pods as well. So yeah, guys, there's a lot of different places that you can catch us on the audio as well. So, by all means, if you guys are the audio people, download, subscribe on there as well. We'd love to see you guys on there as well. The big one is Apple, and if you guys are on Apple, please leave us a nice little review there. Helps us get out to the masses there. Probably, I would say about 60% of our downloads actually come from Apple. For some reason, Spotify does not like us so much, but Apple Podcasts loves us. So we're actually at one point ranking above Jordan Ronan's podcast for when you search the term New York Giants. So that's pretty cool. We beat ESPN. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Fight the man.
All right, guys. So again, we'll see you guys Sunday night there as soon as the game is over. Hope you guys enjoy. Have a happy, safe game there. Remember, good times are hopefully coming here, so don't get too depressed during this one. We expect to lose. We expect good times coming. All righty, guys. As always, Giant fans.
Go G-Man!
Go G-Man! G-Man! G-Spot.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it. So I am sure you have followed us on all the social media platforms. Of course, you have subscribed to the show on your favorite app as well and given us a top rating. Right? Right? Right?
Thank you to those who have signed up for our silver gold levels of membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.